Wow, I'm humbled to go after you guys. That was amazing. I'm happy to be here today. It feels like I'm home. What lessons have you learned in your years here at NECI? Which lessons will you rely upon for your success? You've no doubt learned a range of culinary skills. You know how to choose ingredients. You know how to blend them, create marvelous dishes. I'm sure you all can probably delight even the toughest customers today, right now. But beyond the culinary skills, you probably learned some other lessons as well. I know that I did, and the other lessons continue to serve me, even though I left here 14 years ago. Many of you know NECI's founding chef, who was involved with Fran, Chef Michel Leborn. I was one of the last classes to go through for him. He's an accomplished French chef. When he decided that he would take his culinary skills, leave the kitchen and teach. So he also chose a different path. And one of my most memorable lessons came from Chef Michel. At the time I was here, I was one of the last students to go through a class that he taught. And during that class, in the beginning, I'd done some extra cleaning work that no one usually did, and I did it without being told so. Not to kiss up to him because I was scared to death, let's be honest about that. He told me to remind him on the day of the final exam, and that would be worth a bonus. At the end of the class, we had the final written exam. The chef had us grade each other's papers and was going around the room asking everyone for their final scores. I was the last student to be asked for their score, and when Chef said, "Well, what's your score?" I said, "Well, Chef, that depends, because you said there'd be a bonus. So, once you give me that, I'll give you the score." Looked at me and he quietly said, "Philippe, what was your score?" I said, "Well, Chef, as soon as I know the bonus, I'll add it in and tell you what the score is." He said it one more time very quietly, and he said, "Philippe, what was your score?" I said, "Well, Chef, again, if you tell me the score, I'll do that." The final time, he slammed his fist on the table. He said, "Philippe, you tell me your score." So again, fear instilled in me. I said, "Well, Chef, I had 100 on the exam." He was very cross. He looked right at me, and without missing a breath, he said, "-7 for wanting more when you don't need it." I still have that paper. I still have a 93. This is one of the many lessons I learned at NECI. Another part of my experience here was to have a huge impact on my life. It turned to be out what I learned in the purchasing class. Before I attended here, I had worked in restaurants, and I never fully understood the relationship with my vendors, people like Vince here, and it's just as important, and to expect from your vendors the best quality, the best service, and at a fair price. You'll now put into practice lessons that you've learned here at NECI. This will undoubtedly take you to many new places. If you stay rooted in these things you've learned, amazing things can and will happen. During and after graduation, I found myself moving to different parts of the country to experience different regions, foods, climates, cuisines. And prior to attending NECI, I had a mentor in Wisconsin who owned a spice shop. He was outside of Madison, and he would prove to be another influence in my culinary career. As it was here that I got the bug for blending and sourcing spices, because wherever I found myself working, there was always fresh produce, there was fresh proteins, seafoods, meats, fruits, vegetables, but spices, second-rate spices, always seemed to be the rule and not the exception. I saw a need in the culinary industry and decided I would leave the kitchen and attempt to fill this void. During my time at NECI, I thought for sure I would eventually have my own restaurant. I wanted to be chef, and I wanted to be chef owner. The vision for my business, however, was realized. It was not to be a restaurant, but it was to be Terra Spice Company. I had this dream of cooking in my own restaurant, and now my substitute for cooking would become sourcing and blending spices. Once again, my foresight would be short, as the majority of my time would not be spent doing this, but would be spent in other areas: finance, law, human resources, time management. Luckily, my training at NECI had given me the skills and knowledge to face adversity by being comfortable only when I'm uncomfortable, as I am now, speaking to you. As a business owner, I now find a good portion of my time spent being a banker, a lawyer, a politician, all in a mini infrastructure that we've created out of nothing. The learning by doing NECI lessons continue to serve me well. Recently, I found myself eating dinner at one of my customers' restaurants in Michigan and was sitting at the bar. The very talented mixologist who was serving us had been a chef in California and then a pastry chef, now finds himself behind the bar. Another one of my customers was sitting next to me, also a chef, now the head brewmaster for a microbrewery. Neither one ended up as the chef of the kitchen in their own restaurant. Both had taken their culinary knowledge and applied it with their experience and applied it in different settings. Many opportunities await you in the culinary field. NECI is your starting point. Where will you go? Hold on to your vision while being open to new possibilities. Use your lessons gained from NECI and continue to learn by doing. It's my pleasure and my honor to share in your exciting day, and I look forward to one day hearing about your success, whatever it may be. Thank you.